and welcome back to Qa'Rajh Team Racing Nitro-Fueled. We are on the bonus tracks, and our first off is Twilight Tour. So let's see who we are driving as. Let's get Gary out of there. Nina Cortex, a very fitting pink mobile, and some, is that electricity trapped in glass tubes with metal fittings and... oh well. Well, the car at least fits her skin, so... yeah, it's more purple than pink, but... So, I've spoken about Nina's character, and... while she does have the more goofy look, it is refreshing to see a female antagonist for once, particularly in the Qa'Rajh series, because they are quite heavily focused on the male characters. The addition of the poster girls from the first one is a step in the right direction and definitely added a lot of female characters to this, but they were all quote-unquote good, aligned. The way you can tell is if you catch a Uka Uka or Aku Aku, you will always get Aku Aku while driving as one of the poster girls. Which means that they're good. So, Twilight Tour. This one is probably one of my most played tracks of the bonus ones. And I can't really tell you why. It's not that amazing. It's quite long, as you can see, but it's one of those tracks that you just like to drive on it. It's definitely above an average track, even though it's not particularly special. This I like though. It's very satisfying to just crash right in and get a full load of WUMPA right away. You can't miss that though, and in that case, the track is rather devoid of WUMPA crates, so that's a bit of a shame, but it's pretty much the only downside that I have had while playing this track. I love the Middle Eastern feel to it. Part of what makes this track great for me is that it has enough open curves, enough traps, and enough jumps to actually satisfy pretty much anything that a good track needs. It also calls back to the Middle Eastern tracks of Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, which definitely wasn't my favorite of the three, but I know that a lot of people had strong feelings towards that game, as it definitely was the technically most advanced one. It was also the easiest one, but that definitely isn't part of why it was for me. I played it a couple of times at friends' places, got decent at the boat parts, the parts with Qa'Rajh, and the parts where you drive a motorcycle, which can be rather frustrating. The platforming, however, yeah, that has never been a strength of mine. Actually, an entire series that I had to cancel because of my lack of skill with platforming Q, which I thought was a puzzler, but it turns out to be a puzzle platformer later down the line. And I can handle puzzles, I am decent with those. Platforming, not so much. So yeah, I had to give up on that despite liking the game. But, well, that's sometimes how it is. Alright, we got through all 3 laps on Twilight Tour.
Take out the trash, girls.
It would be a weird time to take out the trash now. It's 1 in the middle of the night, but okay. I suppose there isn't far to the nearest bin, so it's possible. Right. Enough rambling, on to the next track. If I'm not mistaken, that is Prehistoric Playground. I might be remembering wrong, but I think that oh, no, it is. So here we have dinosaurs with eyebrow games to the max and extreme overbite. So kind of hinting towards fake Crash in terms of design. Is those are features that is also, let me just show you actually. So if we go into characters, and where is fake Crash at? There he is. So that is definitely a feature that goes again with them. That, even though fake Crash is a genetically modified version of Crash created by Neocortex and Engine, this suggests that fake Crash is probably how Crash would have looked in the equivalent of the Stone Age in this series. Right, enough about that. Let's randomize who we are playing as. That is Stu. You can tell by the big pompadour hairdo. Chick has a much smaller hairdo and a less flamboyant attitude. Right, that's very yellow and very garish, but that's fine. The dark plow with tiny tiger definitely adds up to it. Had it been a bright yellow card or a bright green card, it would have been a bit of an eyesore. Now it's just a driver. Well, thankfully that is not a big part of it. So this one is one that I've had difficulties obtaining the shortcut. I know where it is, and I know roughly how to get to it, but that doesn't mean I can get to it. My skill level, timing, or luck, because that is also a part of it depending on what pickups you get. If you get something with a speed boost, that will definitely help you towards certain shortcuts, and this is one such case. There's a lot to take in about this track. And you also got some timey-wimey stuff up top with that literally being Entropy's staff. So the track over on the right that you may have seen in the flyby is one of the things that is not really a shortcut in itself, but it's definitely hard to get. So here you can go pretty much anywhere you want, sort of like a big open field. And these water pumps will shove you up into the air, giving you a temporary boost once you land from the height. And the shortcut in question is there on the left. So having something that speeds you up is definitely an advantage in order to get it. And well, that or have good basic speed and or timing. I don't have either. Sometimes I get the timing right, but then I don't have the speed, and vice versa. So yeah, but I figured if I just show that it is there, that's the best I can do in terms of getting that. This one also added baby Baby Rex. Now that was a bit of a head scratcher for me as a added character because Baby Rex implies that, with many other baby characters, that there is a regular Rex, so to say, and there isn't. So I'm really not sure what's going on in that part, but well, you know. At least the Baby T, which I think is actually his name, it doesn't look as horrid as Baby Crash, Coco, or Cortex, or Entropy for that matter. So there's that. Well, here's to hoping that they don't add more baby characters. They are really an eyesore to look at. But, well, there are plenty of the main 8 characters that have not yet gotten a baby version. Tiny Tiger, Dingodile, Qa'Rajh, Polar, and Engine. Just to mention the most basic ones. I kinda hope that they don't get baby characters because even if that would be consistent, and at least that is something, I really don't think that it is a creative addition to a game like this. I'm not sure how much is canon regarding to the Crash universe, but I definitely don't want Baby Crash, Coco, or anything to be a part of that. So yeah, here's hoping that they just leave it off of that. And find some other characters, like the lab assistant, for example. That's a definite minor character that suddenly got into it and became a playable character. But time will tell. I am following the game, but it's not like now that they have done the most part of their launching and such, they haven't really been that much out for announcing because, well, obviously they have probably been making that Crash game for mobile, so, well. Right, on to Spiral Circuit, a track that's, well, it makes sense because they added Spyro and a couple of other characters from that universe, so why not add a track from it? Speaking of which, here's one, Nasty Nork, in his original attire. So Nasty Nork was essentially one of the baddies that you could fight as Spyro around in the world. I don't know if it was anyone particular, but this one is definitely given a bit more fleshed out character. So let's see the flyby. See, here it does use teleporters as well, but unlike in Velo Station or Circuit or whatever it was called, it actually makes sense because these teleporters were in the Spyro game. That was me striking a match, lighting a candle for a bit of mood lightning. Hello. So, a little thing you might notice is that you are not collecting WUMPA coins in this one. You are collecting gems, as Spyro was. And the gems have different values, as they did in Spyro. So the red gems count for 1, green gems count for 2, and blue gems, I think, are 3. Don't hold me up on that though. As I've said, I've never played Spyro, so I don't know. Another thing, which is not, well, Nasty Nork would be one of the characters where it fits to, is that instead of an Aku Aku or an Uka Uka, you as a Spyro character get the little fairy or golden grasshopper that Spyro had for invisibility. And the crates here now are chests. Well, gem chests. And the levels are definitely throwbacks to the various levels in Spyro. I remember the magicians, like, they would run away from you when you started going after them and be like, like giggling off in the distance and basically taunting you to come and get them. Still, most enemies in Spyro are one-hit kills. I suppose when you think about it, most enemies in Crash Bandicoot regular games are one-hit kills too. Very shiny, his armor. Almost like glass or bronze, though that could just be the light. It looks nice. Armor polish is definitely not a bad thing. Well, unless you do it like a Dragon Age Inquisition, where even after the grimiest of battles, everyone's sword and skin was shining like had they been bathed in Vaseline while battling. Something that, even though they said this is sort of like a more gritty sword, it was still the shiniest piece of hunk of metal you'd ever laid eyes upon. So I kind of think they missed that there. Okay, on to the next one. Is it Nina's Nightmare already, or is that in a couple of races down the line? Which I've seen. It is Nina's Nightmare. Alright, let's see who we will be playing as. Ripperoo in all his manic glory. So, Ripperoo is in a bound shirt. It's not a problem, he drives with his feet. Which, considering how mad he is, that actually makes a decent amount of sense. Which is a strange thing to say about Ripperoo. I mean, this is a guy who was jumping around on his cane, igniting TNT in a river trying to get you because you disturbed him in his reading. And then it just went downhill from there. So that's Ripperoo. He also had an appearance in Crash Bash where he had Ripper's Pogo Pass, where you had to paint levels by jumping on pogo sticks. That's a big pumpkin spider. And a spooky manor just to top it off. So, Nina's Nightmare has an interesting feature that I will show you as soon as we bump into it. Also, I really like the vibe of this track. And the soundtrack. Get away, explodey prick. So it hasn't occurred yet. I also like this track because it evolves as you play through it, which is more than a lot of the tracks do. This track actually becomes a little more difficult as you go through it. Which is an interesting feature. So I've not yet been able to show it, but sometimes when you break a crate on this level, be it a WUMPA crate or a power-up crate, small blue ghost will come out. And you can catch them, like the WUMPA fruit here, but they don't seem to do anything. And here you'll also see what I meant by the track evolving. That goop will slow you down, though it doesn't hurt you. If I could get a bowling bomb or a shield, that would be capital. I might not be able to catch up to that one otherwise. Yeah, I don't think I'm fast enough. Oh, ow. I could just have gone the other way, but no. Had to be difficult, Fluffy. Ah! Bugger! Alright, come on. Come on! Yes! Aha! Right at the last second I got the golden WUMPA with a bowling ball. That was clutch. 290 WUMPA coins for that. Well, that was it for these bonus tracks. So, I will see you in the next video. But until then, take care.